Hey, do you want me to turn this one on?
Call the November 1st, 2021 Municipal Authority meeting to order. Roll call. Marquet. Here. Maria Kane.
Here.
Ms. Savant. Not here.
This is Kalika Savant.
I'm sorry? Oh, Kalika, I'm sorry. Okay,
Hi, I'm sorry.
Please
I should have
approve.
just said here.
okay. Everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody's had an opportunity to look at the agenda for tonight's meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Thank you. Everyone's had an opportunity to take a look at the minutes from the October 4th, 2021 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Thank you. There are no announcements. Public comment. When you go up to state your name and your address, please.
Hi, I'm Pam Lardison from 4019 Fox Hill Lane. Just coming to give you an update on what is going on our property as far as the restoration of the property that has been ongoing since May of 2019. So we had the trees taken down, which I had updated at the last meeting. We are working with Earth Care to hopefully restore the property, and hopefully Mr. Sheridan is working on that contract for us. But we are kind of getting a little bit stonewalled by Earth Care, so I'm not sure. Well, I know we're not going to have grass this fall, basically. So right now we have an entire backyard full of mud, and I don't mean a portion, I mean the entire yard is mud. And extremely unattractive. We have some trees that we purchased personally to replace the trees and which will be part of that contract. I did want to bring up some items where when I think it's John Herbine, is that his last name? The township arborist came out on August 18th, and we discussed about taking some trees down. One of the trees was a poplar tulip that he wanted to wait until the spring to take down. We did not want to wait till the spring because we just want this project over. That would mean they'd have to come through our front yard, down the side and through the back to take down a giant tulip poplar while all the other trees were being taken down. I wanted to see if the municipal authority is willing to split that cost of taking that tree down. That was a $2,000 expense for us. And then in addition to that, at the time of the, I don't know, I can give you these pictures. They're not very good. Printer, who were also emailed these pictures back in July. When the project came through our yard, they were inches from our septic tank. They came through as I said, the end of May, beginning of June, with equipment that really wasn't meant to be in a resident's backyard. And you can see how close it is to the house there. In August, I noticed that had our septic tank was leaking, which we have never had issues with our septic tank. Typically, we can go 2-3 years without having to pump our septic tank. We had the tank pumped, and then again, it started leaking again. September 24th, the company came out and said that the pump had fallen and the alarm and the switch floats had been broken, and we had to have it pumped again and have all that replaced for a total of $1,965. The time I talked to Dave Chilson from Joe and Bradley, and we were told they didn't touch our septic tank. So yes, they did not touch the septic tank. That equipment was in my yard. We could feel the house shaking at times. I feel very strongly that Joe and Bradley is also responsible for this repair to the our septic system. So I'd like to submit this bill as well for to be reimbursed for that, because it's unfair that we also had to deal with that expense, especially knowing now what we didn't know then, that equipment was way too large to be in our property. It should have been residential equipment.
Okay.
Well, would you like the bill as well?
Sure.
And how do we go forward about addressing this and also getting the contract?
With regard to the bills, we'll talk to our engineer, get his opinion, his comment, we'll respond accordingly. With regard to what our council is doing, I'm working on it.
Yeah, because got the amounts fine.
Okay. Okay. Next 10 days?
And what happens if Earth Care says they can't do the job? Then, and we have to go back out to bid. We have another bid from Roots Landscaping, which is slightly more.
What they said they would.
Well, they said they were gonna do the job, but we're not getting calls back, and we thought we were gonna have grass and we don't have grass, so. At this point now, what they're saying is they're gonna plant the trees and come back in the spring to do the grass. But again, we've been calling them fairly regularly, and Dave had spoken to them and they said that they'll get us on the schedule, but we haven't heard that and we don't have a date that they're coming out.
You have a contract with them that you signed?
We were given an estimate, well, kind of yes and no. We have a contract, we have a price, but it's a little confusing as to who was responsible for that, if it was us or if it was going to be the township. So,
You get a contract with Earth Care?
yeah, I mean, we have a contract with them. We have an agreement that they're going to do it. No, it hasn't been signed by us. My husband has emailed with them and said, yes,
Okay.
we accept the work.
I mean, look, I'm not counsel, I'm not your attorney. But based on everything we've experienced, get a contract, make sure you like it, make sure it covers all the issues, sign it, have them countersign it. And you have a deal. This is between
My
you-
question is, what happens though?
Right,
if they
ours is
don't
a
come out?
reimbursement. This
Okay.
contract is between you and whomever.
Okay.
We're simply reimbursing based on the terms of the contract that is executed between the two parties. So you have an obligation to yourself to make sure that whatever they're,
We have worked out the details. My point is,
just make sure they're signed by both parties so that you don't end up with, well, you said this, we thought that. This isn't really what we meant. We didn't sign it. I'm just based on what we experienced in other issues. I would make sure that everything's articulated in writing. You sign it, they sign it. And then you have an agreement that's in writing that both parties are responsible for what they're responsible for. We're going to reimburse based on the executed contract.
and where's the contract between the municipal authority and us
That's what I'm.
about that?
There's drafting an agreement that'll be executed between the authority and you.
Reimbursement.
The reimbursement agreement. We will reimburse you up to, not to exceed a certain dollar amount. Evidenced by the completion. That's what you're going to get from the authority.
Okay, and my
Between
question
you
is,
and Earth. It's a contract between you two, not us.
okay, but you're holding us to the amount that we have with Earth Care. If Earth Care says
That's
we
the
can't,
contract you gave.
Well, so you need a contract in order
Yes.
for us.
yes, and we have the contract. Dave
determine
has a
what
copy of the
amount is at
contract.
issue.
But if they're not coming out to do the job, are we beholden to that
Well, if
amount?
it's going to exceed the dollar amount that we agreed to, you're going to have to come back and explain why it's higher.
Okay, well, I'm going to explain why it's higher, because we've
But you
been
don't have a deal
waiting
either way. So
for
I don't,
multiple years to have our property restored.
okay, I understand that. You have a dollar amount. We've agreed to a dollar amount reimbursement. You went out and got a contract.
We didn't agree to a dollar
No,
amount.
We agreed to a limit of what we're willing to
I
reimburse.
don't know.
No,
I
we
don't
did
think
not
we
agree to any numbers
So where do we get the money dollar amount from?
from the contract from the invoice that we were, or the proposal that we were given by Earth Care.
So that's the dollar amount we're working with.
That's the dollar amount we're
So
working
that's the
with.
amount we're agreeing to
Assuming they
reimburse.
can come out. If they can't come out, if they're not going to come out, I don't want to be holding to that number, to that company, if they can't put us
Pam,
in their
so you don't
schedule.
have a contract yet with them. So if they tell you they're not coming out, then, I mean, if you don't mind me interjecting,
Go ahead.
Joe,
Go ahead.
then maybe you want to get another contract from somebody else. But whoever's going to put pen to paper and agree to do what is needed to restore your property, okay? And it should all be itemized. Should have a list of everything there.
We do.
You should be happy with it. Otherwise, there's not much we can do by way of obligating this authority to reimbursing you for, we have to know what we're reimbursing you for. And the means of determining that is going to be your contract between the landscaper,
Okay.
okay?
If I might add, it's generally consistent with the scope that we had been talking about, with the property owner and with the other contractors that they're dealing with. And I can concur with what Pam is telling you. I spoke with her husband and with her, that they had not gotten feedback from her initial site visit. I was able to call and get in touch with them. I played that to citizens. I spoke with that person for care. That he's busy right now. They're trying to get her project added to their schedule. Do something with property last week. Not that they haven't said explicitly that they're not willing to do the work. It's just a matter of timing that sounded like to me.
But I don't know, if they sent them a proposal and it usually has a line on the bottom, I accept.
It's
the
all been
proposal.
done via email. so
Right,
yeah.
but I mean, I would recommend that be printed out, signed by you, sent back to them. And then you have a contract if and if there's some timeframes on there, that would, work even better for you, but,
Okay.
if that's not gonna be the contract you're working off of for reimbursement, then, go to Plan B. I agree with Joe. I mean, we can't advise you as to who to use exactly, but we can only go to the next step when you have a signed contract with
Okay.
the landscaper that's going to do it.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Mike Rodia, 404 Hempstead Circle. I've been in touch with Mr. Neese. I asked him to forward you an email. I'm not sure. Did anybody receive my email?
I've received several, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So live over 404 Hempstead Circle. Back in September, I received an email from the township that I owe the township $7,179.51 for a tapping fee. My recollection with the meeting with Linda Holden, God rest her soul, Jim Sheldrake, Mr. Sheridan, that my tapping fee was being waived. Even have an email here from Mike that he sent to Stephen that my tapping fee for the tapping fee into Springton Point Estates was waived. I'm just looking to come here to get a letter from the township stating that I don't owe a tapping fee. I know the law is you can't receive two tapping fees. One I have is the one that I have has already been waived. I can get deeper into this unless Mike wants to make a comment, but I can go a little bit deeper into my
Do you have-
issues that I have.
Do you have documentation?
I have an email here from Stephen Neese that told me, it says, Mr. Sheridan, copying him on the response, that your tap-in fee for Springton Point Estates has been waived. So I can't be charged for two tap-in fees. And then I also have an issue with the original tap-in fee. I never consented to the Ursado agreement back in 2005 when it was done. I purchased my home. Just want to give you a little scenario. I purchased my home May 24th of 2002. Prior to me moving in to get a certificate of occupancy, the township came out and they inspected my septic system. I don't know if it was prejudice against me or what. The system failed. So before I can come into my home, I had to spend over $15,000 with the township agreeing that I can put this new system in. $15,000 I paid to get a certificate of occupancy. I was never given the option to run my sewer line up to the Springton Point Estate. Maybe it would have been cheaper, who knows? I was never given that opportunity. But now come 2004, 2005, you have a homeowner, and I want you guys to understand this, a homeowner that lives I'm on Hempstead Circle in Newtown Square, 5 minutes away. I don't know if do any of you know what the street looks like? You ever been up there? So I'm on Hempstead Circle. They want me to pay for a private homeowner whose septic system failed to run a sewer line from Bishop Hollow up Hempstead Road into the Springton Point Estate. I'm on Hempstead Circle. That line never came down my street and went up from Bishop Hollow. I mean, they live around the corner from me. I'm asking, like, if I'm putting my house up for sale tomorrow, Bob, should you pay for my roof if I can't get a certificate of insurance? Mark, should you pay for my roof to help sell the home? Yes.
Your public comment.
Can you just address it?
Okay, I'll get back to it.
This is
Okay,
not-
so
this
the
is
bottom,
not the
okay, I
theater.
get it. But the bottom line here is you guys send me a bill for something that's already been waived. You sent me a bill for a
All right, I
sewer
understand.
line. So no, let me finish. You want me to comment here? I'll comment here, okay? Thanks for interrupting. I am. I know. Okay, but you're interrupting me.
Go ahead.
I don't want to get fired up over this. Bottom line is the Ursado line goes up Hempstead Road, doesn't come down Hempstead Circle. I had no access to tie into that. I'm more than 150 feet away from that. The township came up with a plan. I'm going to tell the whole story now. The Devers bought a house on Bishop Hollow Road, and they wanted to subdivide that to 4 homes. Again, the township made an agreement that I didn't consent to. I never even heard about this. Brad's a friend of mine. He goes, hey, we're going to put sewer down the road for you. That's great. Then I found out in the original agreement, they were going to charge us $12,000. $12,000 to help with construction. I came to these meetings 10 years ago, 15, 20 meetings saying, okay, I'll help pay for his sewer line, but when he sells these homes, I want profit off of that. Like, if you're going to make me part of the development and pay for a sewer line, I should receive monies for selling those homes. So what happened was Jim Sheldrake, who was a township supervisor back at the time, because they were also going to make the Devers run water line from Springton Point all the way down Hempstead Circle to supply water through Aqua, supply water to the 4 homes. So what happened was Jim Sheldrake found out that there's water at the girls' softball field. Yeah, they had a meeting with the Devers. Not sure if Mike was there or not. They found water over there. They said to the Devers, we'll let you tap in here that you don't have to run the water line all the way down Hempstead Road or Hempstead Circle. Tie in here. The Devers agree with the township that they'll pay for all the costs for the sewer line if we allow them to tap the water in there. Instead, because the water doesn't come up Hempstead Road or Circle at all. Township made an agreement, the Devers agreed to it. They paid the tap-in fee 100%, all the costs of it. And again, I'm wondering why I'm still getting a bill for this. The other thing is, I don't tap into your Ursado line. If I want today to tap into the line, it would be the Dever line. That's already paid for, 100% paid for to the township. Township paid $0 for the Ursado line and the Dever line. I still got this bill that 10 years later, I got a bill when I was told in this meeting, all tapping fees will be waived. And I'll keep coming back with more information. I requested information from the township. You know what I got? And I'll look at them. You know what I got? I got a letter saying that Kelly and Close lost all the paperwork for this. You know the information? And I sent the email. You have it, everything I'm looking for. I did my own research. There's 21 homes that can tap into that line. 21. I want to know how many of those 21 can, through the DEP, how many of those 21 is it still going to be safe for 21 neighbors to tap into your Ursado line? Can it be done? I don't know. I'm going to go through a couple more questions I have for you. What I'm looking for. When did the township accept dedication to the Ursado Terrell line? When did the township accept dedication to the Dever sewer line? How many homes are currently connected to the Ursado Terrell line? How many are connected to the Dever sewer line? And again, how many total homes can connect into both lines? How many homes have paid a tapping fee to the Ursado Terrell line. How does the township not know how much has been reimbursed to the Ursado for the deal that they made that I didn't consent to? That 7 years later, I finally found out about. So I mean, it's, I thought this was over and done with. Like you and I talked about this 10 years ago. You, Linda, and Jim Sheldrake said, you got an early Christmas present, Mike. The Devers are paying for the sewer line. All you have to do is pay for a plumber to go from your house to the sewer line because it's all paid in full. You know, I'm getting emotional now because 10 years to 11 years later, I'm being called a liar. When I contact Mr. Neese, the township, I send you guys an email. It's $8,000. It's not going to make or break me. But to me, I was promised and my neighbors were promised. My one next door neighbor's dead. The township, she just died 3 months ago. They made the new homeowner put $8,000 in escrow for a sewer line that they don't even want to tap into. Another neighbor, Wally Frist, across the street 6 or 7 years ago, sold his house. They made the new homeowners pay $7,100. They shouldn't have been charged anything. Nothing. Based on this agreement. The other thing is, I don't know, I'm not an attorney, but I was told that the township has 3 to 6 months when a new system puts in to put a lien on your home. I mean, I'm not an attorney, Mike, you may know that. Supposedly it's like 3 months or 6 months that if there's a line that you have to tap into, if they can put a lien on the house. I found out 7 years later. And now the first time I received this letter was in September that I had to pay a tapping fee. After 17 years from the Ursado line went in. That's all I have to say. I'll be back. Unless you want to give me a letter tonight that you're waiving all future tapping fees for 404 Hempstead Circle. And I was also told I was grandfathered in. If my septic system always worked, I would never have to tie in. That's what I was promised. And Mike knows it too. We talked about it.
Well, I know he thinks that. I know the conversation related to the deed. Michael and I talked before we came in about his understanding, different than mine, that the Deaver line, which wasn't paid off by Deavers, it was paid off by Renahan, because you may remember that, Joe, because you were here then. Part of that deal, when they took the deed in lieu of foreclosure from the bank, they agreed not to charge any of the residents any costs associated with that line.
Thank you.
But Michael says, and this is where, not fair to Dave, because I asked him this question as soon as I sat down, because his firm was not the engineering firm at the time, it was Skelly & Close, that it had always been my understanding that Deaver line runs down into and connects to the Ursado line. And if I had known Michael was going to be here tonight, I would have brought my Ursado file with the agreement, which identified the houses that were anticipated to ultimately connect.
I sent you an email with the list, so you should have 20. So I'll get back to it. What's that? I sent it to Stephen. Is you Stephen? Oh, there you go. I'm Mike Rodia, Hempstead Circle.
I mean, I'll maybe didn't show it to you.
So I mean, I have a copy of the Dever agreement that I have a copy of the Dever agreement with the township that says it connects right into Springton Point. The other thing is I don't connect to Ursado at all. If I tapped in, my house is 150 feet to the closest sewer line. It's the law of Newtown Square. It's not my law. Yeah, if you can.
Address that point, Michael, that I think there's a fundamental difference in understanding where the Deaver line runs. Michael is saying that it runs straight into the Springton Point Estate Treatment Facility through some other lines that already existed up back behind your house.
No, it's in front of the house. The sewer line runs in front of my house. The Deaver sewer line. Right, runs right in front of my house in my front yard.
That connects to
Directly into Springton Point. Ursado comes up this way. And again, guys, I want you to understand Yeah. Okay.
The Ursado agreement anticipated, as I said, Hempstead Circle being included. The Deaver line front, and I didn't put the line in, or I wasn't out there when it was being put in, but it was always understood that line came down Hempstead Circle and connected into the into the Orsado line on Hempstead Road. That's why there's no charge for that section of it. But there is a charge for the proportionate share of the cost to put the line into Hempstead, into the Orsado line in Hempstead Road. It does run up into Springton Point Estates. But I don't believe, and I'll have to get it clarified.
I'll send you, I'll send,
Obviously, you
I read the
All right,
Deborah
look,
contract.
let's do this.
So here's the last thing I want to make a comment. No, let me make a last comment. So you guys know the information. What's one, my tapping fee was waived into Springton Point. You can't be charged 2 tapping fees. I have an email from Mike that he let John know, or I'm sorry, Steve and Nice know, Mike, and it's an email, and I sent it to you guys. Mike waived your fee for Springton Point. How can I be charged twice, 2 tapping fees?
Exactly what it says.
It's right here. I spoke with Mr. Sheridan and I'm copying him on this response. He confirmed with me that you are not paying a tap-in fee into the system for Springton Point Estates. Your municipal authority at that time did waive that fee. No, I'm gonna show you.
What's the rest of it say? I don't need to see it, just what's the rest of it say?
Oh,
You want to read it? No. If you want to read it out loud, go ahead.
The municipal authority did waive that fee. However, there is a fee to cover the cost of the line that was put in Hempstead Road, which connects into the line for Springton Point Estate Plan.
Okay,
There's an agreement with the authority to collect the prorated portion for each house that connects to the line and reimburse that party that installed the line in Hempstead Road. The township ordinance requires connection.
okay, let me ask you this. So you are saying right there, the law is I cannot be charged for 2 tapping fees.
We're not charging you a tapping fee.
I just got, okay, so this bill I just got that was dated September 8 says I owe $71.79 for a tapping fee.
If I'm not mistaken, that is the math equation of the proportionate share.
Of a line that I don't tap
Is that
into.
correct?
That's my
Of
understanding.
a line I do not tap into. I don't tap in. Okay, let me ask you this, okay? No, Mike, let me ask you this question. If the Devers didn't put their line in, okay? No, just let's have it for, let's
I don't have, any-
hypothetical.
listen, you're asking me questions.
All I
can't
want is
answer.
my fee
I don't
waived like
have-
I was told, bottom line.
That's fine.
Okay, that's what I want. And if
Well,
I gotta keep coming back
You
until,
keep coming back then. I'll invite you back every meeting.
okay, you gonna waive my fee?
You come back every meeting and we'll talk about it.
No, I wanna know now.
No, we're not gonna waive. your
Well, I
fee
was
tonight.
told 11 years ago that my fee was waived,
We're not
okay?
waiving it
That's what I
tonight.
was.
Because
You're
we
not
don't
gonna
have
waive it tonight?
No,
Okay, well, I want all the information I requested a month ago with the right to know and with the information I got. You guys don't, you know what's funny? You guys don't even know you have houses on Hempstead Circle that have been tied in for 7 years. And you're sending them a tap-in fee and an invoice for the sewer? And you're gonna hammer back at me that I told 11 years ago, I was told I didn't have to tap in. I got an email saying I don't have to tap in, and I don't tap into your satellite. Thank you. Sorry to bother everybody, waste your time, but dealing with these guys, it's only, I did for 2 years back in 2010 to 12.
so what I would.
Why do I have to pay
You're
for a
done.
person?
You're done.
Why do I have to pay for a person who lives on Bishop Hollow?
You're done.
Why do you guys do that?
You're done. Finish. You made your statement. We understand where you're coming from. I'd like our engineer to obtain as much information from the plans relating to that entire area. I know you weren't the engineer at the time. You can obtain the plans, as built, determine what goes where, what connects to what, which residents connect to which line, which residents have already connected, which residents still have an opportunity to connect.
Thank you.
Then we'll have a better picture as to the system in that specific neighborhood. I recognize you weren't the engineer at the time. I recognize also that nobody on this board was at the board at that point in time either. So it's going to take some digging. It may take some time. You can come back to the board with an overview and a summary. Then we can address the issues that have been presented. Council, whatever you have,
I got it.
review it. At the next
I've
meeting,
looked at it many times.
I understand that.
I'll sit down and
But-
show 'em.
I will ask you at the next meeting, you review your documentation, and you can also present what you have in documentation form from way back when as to the obligations of all the different entities that are involved in this structure. Okay? Okay. Okay. Any other public comment? State your name and your address, please.
Mark Bowie, 398 Hempstead Circle. I realize we covered a lot of this, but I want to read my comment into the record. I think it's hopefully a lot more cut and dry. I live in a new construction home. I did receive the same letter on September 8th indicating that I have a $7,100, $7,400 bill due. My house's new construction was always connected into the public sewer, never had septic or anything else. So I assume this is more of a straight clerical error. Be that as it may, I do have a $7,400 invoice that's due, I believe, a week from tonight. And I would like some communication from the township that it was in error and I don't in fact owe any money.
Your brand new construction?
New
Well,
construction, when I
I'm saying
purchased
when
the
your
home.
house was built,
The Renahan
the
building?
house
Yes.
was connected to the system when you moved in.
Correct.
My
Correct.
initial comment would be, I'm guessing that it was sent to you in error, but I will have to
Yeah.
follow up.
I mean, if it's new construction as part of the Lenahan development, they had to pay all the appropriate fees and costs associated with construction. So I would agree that that's a technical clerical error.
I
In your,
appreciate that.
in your case,
Yes.
that's my belief.
I appreciate that. I
Okay.
think Mr. Sheridan just clarified that in the last public comment that wasn't in fact the case. But I still do have the invoice.
That's
and
fine,
it's-
we'll
it's
check,
still due
we'll,
week.
we'll confirm that. But if that's new construction as part of Lenahan development, those fees and those costs were assumed by the developer.
Yes,
They were paid by the developer to the township in order to get a permit to build and a certificate of occupancy to sell the house, so.
correct. And that's all
What
as I,
what is your address again?
398 Hempstead Circle. And the affected properties would be 398, 399, and 400. All of this.
They're
all
the
of
four
this-
houses that were built.
There are the three houses.
Three houses were built by Lenny.
By Renahan, yes.
That's one.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. So they all have the same issue. I do believe at least one of them, actually, both of the other ones have contacted township to
That's fine.
no avail so far.
That documentation is readily available to township.
Yeah, so I did call the township and they said this was a venue to bring up such comments, so
Okay.
I'm making that comment.
That's fine.
So as my dad might say, same church, different pew.
Do you know who you talked to?
I called today and spoke to Denise Gibbon, if that sounds correct?
Yep.
And I believe my neighbor spoke to the same.
Right, thank you.
On a, I assume, related note or definitely related note, after receiving this and probably after my neighbors contacting, I got another invoice from Newtown Township, which I assume looks to be my quarterly sewer bill with a usage of 6,500 units unknown for $73.58. I will assume that to be correct and I'm not protesting that. It comes with a previous balance of $3,819.63, which I also assume is a clerical error. So I would like communication from Newtown Township. That's also
I would
incorrect.
suggest that when tomorrow during normal business hours, you contact Rich Lafayette and let him analyze the data that we get from Aqua. That's all driven from Aqua. It's not anything we originate. That's Aqua's information and its formula. So contact him. He can go over the information and there may be an issue with Aqua, a water issue with Aqua. I don't have an answer to that, but contact him tomorrow and make an arrangement to either talk or visit with
Okay.
him. And then that can be looked at and addressed.
That's fine. And then just to be clear, my expectation would be if I do owe some money, that there's a complete detailed by quarter.
Oh, yeah, there'd be an analysis. If you owe that kind of money, there has to be some analysis.
Is that the first quarterly sewer bill you ever received?
I believe so, yes. Yeah.
So they can work it through with you to figure
But
out.
I would assume the township is not trying to back bill me for 7 years of sewage.
Well, if you've been using the system for 7 years for free, then obviously, yeah.
Is that what we do here? We hold
Well,
on to
do
an
you get it
invoice
for free?
for 7 years and then,
But do you,
tell me
let
it's
me
due
ask you,
in 30
you
days?
get it for free? Is that what you're saying? You should get it for free? That's what
I'm
I'm asking you. I mean, should you get it for free
I'm
for
not,
7 years?
I'm not trying to get anything for free. I'm not trying to get anything
I
over.
mean,
on
I don't know
anyone.
where the clerical error came from. I don't know. If you've never been billed, again, that's a clerical error internally at the township. It has to be addressed, it has to be looked at.
Understood.
If in fact that clerical error existed for 7 years and you received free sewer for 7 years, obviously, we have to address that. First, we got to find out why you were never billed. And then from there, we'll figure out how we deal with the situation. But let us first start with, is that accurate? Was it never billed? And then why was it never billed? And then we'll go to the next step, which if it wasn't billed and that is the outstanding balance, then we'll figure that out.
That's fine. I'm fine with all of that. I'm not trying to get free sewage.
Okay.
I didn't call and proactively ask for
That's fine.
my sewage bill.
You addressed the issue, so we'll have our staff will look at it. We'll go
Yeah,
through the numbers.
but since it has a due date of November 22nd, and I think the meeting's
We'll
the first
wait,
Monday.
we'll wait. Don't worry about the due date. Let us
All
do
right,
our due
so-
diligence. Let us do our research.
Okay.
Let us communicate, and then we'll deal with it. So you can disregard the due date until we have the staff and you converse as to how that number got to that number and what the issues are, and then we'll deal with it.
Fair enough. Can I assume that all this will carry forward to 399 and 400 as well, or do I need to have them?
No, we'll look at, I mean, we
Okay, as well.
obviously, if we have a problem, we're gonna have to look at it. So let's make an assumption that,
If they're having the same problem, have them reach out to Rich. We'll work through the whole process.
Got it.
and in the interim, we'll have our staff look at those 3 addresses to see if there's a consistent problem there.
Yeah,
And we'll get
yeah.
ahead of it as well.
Yeah, I can tell you, we all have received the
That's fine.
same
Okay.
invoices.
We'll,
Okay,
we'll have them look at it.
thank you.
Okay. Any other public comment?
Good evening. I'm Bob Rafferty. This is Kevin Rafferty with 4700 Westchester Pike. I'm going to keep this rather straightforward, I think. My first comment I'll address to Mr. Chairman, but this is kind of more towards Steve. I think obviously most of you probably know there was some major disruption on our property. Basically, I would say trespassing. I reached out to Steve in early October in reference to a letter stating that we were not going to be at any time held responsible for the interruption of the steep slopes and very steep slopes that occurred on our property. I've heard nothing. I asked for pictures that he came on our property and took copies of. We've heard nothing. Mr. Porter is in receipt of a inspection report that was done within a week or so ago. There were several comments made by the Delaware County Conservation Organization that he was going to address or should address. I'd like to know if he has any comment on those. If you'd like me to read them, I can. If you'd like him to read them, he can.
If I can.
Go ahead, counsel.
This matter is in litigation.
Correct. That's what I was gonna
This
say.
has nothing to do with the litigation.
Well, it doesn't. So I'm advising counsel or the board not to address any questions after the end or engage.
Why am I not surprised you would say that? I'm trying to get answers as a taxpayer of the township,
No answer,
and I can't get any.
no answers. Permits, I can't find if there's permits, not permits.
Communicating with us.
Your attorney doesn't respond to us.
If this is a dog attorney show, Kevin, then I-
No, but I mean, for someone here to, no, listen, Mike, for us to be here 45 years and and to not get answers, not know if there's permits, have people run roughshod over our property that we weren't allowed to develop because of steep slopes and woodlands. The township engineer comes down and she says one thing that she doesn't have an answer to. So to be here 45 years, pay taxes every year, do everything by the letter. We were in this room when we were prevented from developing our property that we own because of steep slopes and woodlands. And you guys run roughshod over our property. Yes, it's in litigation. So we're also wondering that there was supposed to be a 30-day delay to see what impact it would have on our retaining wall. And
That your
that was
council
ignored.
asked for.
Your council asked for.
You can talk. We're not-
Okay.
That's fine, but it's, I'm
Well, I guess,
talking.
you know what, to be honest with you, if it's on public record, I feel better. You don't have to comment, but if my comments are on public record, I feel better.
And when you ask the township manager questions or the inspector or this department for answers to anything, we don't get answers. So where's the transparency? Where's the honesty? We've been here 45 years. We've been here probably a lot longer than people on this board here.
Well, Kev, as you remember, we were told they have their own set of rules that they.
But this, so, and my mother's 85-year-old widow, and she owns that land, and you're putting her through this.
They don't care.
And
Okay.
that's fine, but I'm gonna speak my piece.
Okay, good.
Because
Good.
we get no answers. All of a sudden, no one knows anything. How is that possible? This gentleman right here, same thing. You owe us the right to answer questions or tell us, are there permits? Are there not permits? We have to do everything by dot our i's, cross our t's, God forbid. And then we see the sewer authority and the township is allowing you guys to run roughshod. And everything was done behind back doors. So
And
again,
your-
gets us upset, gets us angry, because it's bullshit.
And your answer is your contractor made a mistake? Come on, seriously?
That's just not right.
That's what you guys want to stay about?
No, we're not saying anything.
I know.
Well, you
I
don't
was
say
told that.
anything.
I was told that
That's the whole
by
problem.
your engineer and your supervisor. So you can shrug your shoulders, Michael. Go ahead. Fine. Does that make you feel better? Go ahead. Be good.
Well, how do you feel if you don't get answers to anything?
All right, please sit down. I've had enough. Let's move on to the next.
Oh, you've had enough. What are we going through?
No, just
What are
sit
we
down,
going through?
sit
We've
down.
had
We're
enough.
moving on in the agenda. You've had your piece.
I hope it's on public record.
It's on public comment.
You have any comment?
Do not have
We've
comment.
been, we're not
By advice of
commenting.
council,
Yeah, I know, like, likes the council.
Thank you.
or any other public comment?
Oh, this is very easy. Diane Mongeluzzi, 4246 Fairview Avenue. My question was just about when the with the sewers were going to be completed for the Florida Park area. Just if there's any update on that. Diane Mongeluzzi.
I do not have a definitive date as to when Florida Park will be able to connect to the sewer system.
Is there any kind of projection, 6 months, a year, 18 months, any kind of projection?
I would be hesitant to give you a date at this point in time. I think there'll be a lot more clarity by the end of this calendar year.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other public comment? No? Okay. Treasurer's report. Everyone's had an opportunity to take a look at the treasurer's report. Do I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report? Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Payments. 10.1, I make a motion we consider ratifying the reoccurring bills paid to check register A dated November 1, 2021, totaling $148,010.99. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 10.2, I make a motion, consider approving a payment from the bonds totaling $8,962.50 to Herbert MacCombie Engineering, Part 2 work. Public sewer project relative to the Camelot Service Area. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
3, make a motion to consider approving the payments from the bonds totaling $2,770 to the Herbert MacCombie Engineering, part 2 work related to the Ashford Service Area. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
4, I make a motion to consider approving the payments from the bonds totaling $268.75 to MacCombie Engineering, part 2 work for the Springton Point Service Area. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
10.5, I make a motion to consider approving payment from the bonds totaling we're going to withdraw that motion at this point in time. Sorry about that. 7.6, make a motion to consider approving the payments from the bonds totaling $8,423.60 to Glasgow Inc. for public sewer project driveway adjustment work. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
1.7. I make, 10.7, consider approving the payments from the bonds totaling $8,159.30 to Glasgow for public sewer curb work replacement work. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 10.8, make a motion to consider approving a payment from the bonds totaling $10,850 to Jet Green Tree Services, the public sewer tree work. Do I have a second? Second. I do have a question. Can Mr. Engineer, Mr. Porter, can you?
Jack Green Tree is the contractor that was retained after obtaining quotes to.
Okay. And that work has been done?
We're the ones public.
Got it.
comment
Okay. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. 10.9, I make a motion to consider approving the release number 8 for Alameda and Hudak Contractor LLC for the general contract work associated with the Springton Point Pump Station and Service Area totaling $50,491.25, leaving a zero balance. Do I have a second? Second. Questions or comments? Mr. Porter?
There's an error, that's not a zero balance.
Okay. Let me amend that motion and amended motion is consider approving release number 8 to Alameda and Hudak Contractors LLC for the general contract work associated with the Springton Point Pump Station and Service Area totaling $50,491.25, leaving a balance of $66,750. And this closes out the contract for Alameda and Hudak. Do I have a second? Second. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. 10.10, make a motion, consider approving release number 17, J.O. and Bradley for general contract work associated with the Ashford Service Area of the public sewer project totaling $110,089.85, leaving a balance of $242,213.88. Do I have a second? Second. Questions or comments? Mr. Porter, this release is for?
We're settling on quantities related to pipe and holes, lateral, length of lateral pipe, taps, stone quantities. Release of the.
So this is what was in deep discussion in Echo Valley.
Correct.
Does this close out the contract?
I believe this finally close out the contract. I want the authority. Cost.
Right. So what you're saying is this $110,000 then brings them to compensation in full. However, there are open issues as to who was obligated.
It's property, property that happened. Out of wet- forest.
Right.
Will count. So I said about this release, not respond.
Okay. So as our engineer, are you recommending we release the funds, or are you recommending we hold the funds until such time as JO completes what it's supposed to complete in that service area?
My gut feeling.
Not the gut feeling. This is your recommendation.
I don't think they're coming back to finish.
Okay, then I withdraw this motion. We will hold the funds
Do we-
until such time as JO and Bradley and we, through our engineer and our council, can negotiate a settlement as to the work that is left to be done by JO and Bradley in the Ashford Service Area.
Wait, Mike, do we need to make a motion to amend the agenda in light of the changes to the Sunshine Act?
Oh, these are items that were on.
These are on the agenda.
Okay.
That are not.
Okay. Okay. Do we need to make a motion to withdraw? Or do you need to just withdraw the motion?
Just withdraw the motion, which is what I did. Engineers report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The majority of the engineer's report has been covered in some fashion already with the payment, public comment, particularly the Ashford Service Area, Camelot Service Area, Rich Lafayette. I finally forwarded to him the letters that go out to Campus Boulevard, property owners for coordination for their connection to the public sewer system. We have some other items to discuss tonight.
Okay. Any questions on the sewer project update? All is preserved?
Health Preserve, we are in receipt now of developers sewage facilities planning module. I intend to review that document this week and coordinate questions that I have. Has been on my side with regard to residual flow and how to get that documented in planning module. That's ongoing. With regard to Stony Knoll, 27 lot subdivision on Wayland Creek. That plan was before the Township Planning Commission. We recommended to the board approval with conditions on satisfying the review letter. They intend to connect to the authority's public sewer system in Echo Valley Lane. In order to get into the authority's sewer system, they have required easement from the property owner. Also contemplating running their low pressure sewer main through the authority's easement as well. So likely, I'll leave that up to council to direct us on that. Likely need to modify that property owner authority to allow for that utility. May not be as big of an issue. Authority ultimately accepts dedication of that line, not to modify that. Dunwoody Village and Marple Newtown High School, same update for both of those. We've received revised pump station plans and calculations on for Dunwoody Village. All their pump stations to backup issues and ability. Coordinating with their engineers. That addressed all of our comments on that. Shortly getting product submittals and Marple Newtown High School that's related to a snack bar installation at the high school. Contemplate putting a sewage grinder pump in that facility, pumping that up into gravity sewer. Both of those I anticipate probably by the end of this.
Any questions for the engineer? Okay, thank you. Operations Managers Report?
Just a real quick update, our pump stations all seem to be operating well. We did have a problem at the Ellis Preserve Pump Station. Construction vehicles are parking in front of it and not allowing access for KBX. We put no parking signs on that, trying to make sure that the KBX can get in and out of that pump station as needed. So I've not heard back from KBX if there's still a problem, but I do believe we've done that. So I just wanted to let you know we took those steps. The second thing I mentioned to Mr. Sweeney before the meeting, in the month of December, this room is going to be full of library books in boxes. This room would not be able to be used for meetings. So his recommendation would be that we find another location for this meeting. If that's the board's desire, we will look for another location. Most likely, it will either be the school district or potentially SAP, because there are two places that we can still record and put the meeting out from based on their systems. So if that's what the board wishes, we will do that.
Comments? Can't meet either. I thought maybe we can meet the second. Neither.
It's a 5
It's gonna take 5
process,
weeks.
So the whole month, this room is going to be closed down.
Don't meet, or we meet it. You guys' decision, whatever you want.
Fine. Either one. You don't need to meet. We don't.
The only issue
But
is
it
we do
seems
need
to
to
me-
pay bills.
Yeah, we do need to pay bills. So what I'll do is I'll start looking for a place.
See if there's an alternative location. If there is, then we'll meet. If there isn't, then we'll have to figure out how we pay the bills. That's my only concern, is there's a fair amount of bills that have to be paid.
The school administrative bill.
Yeah,
We
no,
bet-
it's
we
just
bet
a
there-
matter of whether or not it's free at that time.
Is it free? Yeah.
And we'll follow up.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, old business?
Tomorrow's on the line.
Okay.
Tomorrow's also on the line, right?
Oh, okay.
Or other person. Okay.
Any other old business? I have none. Items for the next agenda,
Did
You
you
sure?
skipped over the new business, the amended guarantee agreement?
oh, I'm sorry. Okay, new business 13.1, we have an amended guarantee agreement that the township has asked us to review and sign. It has been sent to our bond counsel. Our bond counsel has reviewed it, and our own counsel has looked at it. The township's bond counsel has reviewed it. In a quick summary, I believe it simply corrects 2 words. It really does not impact the authority. Basically, if the bonds go into default, there is an acceleration clause in the bond documents where the bond holders can accelerate and demand repayment. That repayment obligation falls to the township if we default.
Yeah.
So this document simply clarifies that the township has a financial obligation in the event of a default and an acceleration of the bondholders requesting payment, that the township is on the hook for that payment. So I will make a motion that we approve the amended guarantee agreement between the township and the municipal authority. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I'm sorry, old business. I have none. Anybody else old business? Old business, Marie? No?
No.
Items for the next agenda. It's premature. Haven't had a chance to digest this one. I will say we will go to executive session now on 2 issues, and then we can come back and deal with those issues and then finish the meeting. Rich, do you want to put us in executive session?
I don't know how we're gonna get. We can do that.
All right, we can leave. We can adjourn to the back.
I'm trying to figure out how to get Kalika to the back.
Oh,
Can you set up another?
Can we
meeting
just
out
call
on
her?
another computer?
we can just call her very
We
quickly on
we
a
could
on a
just
cell
call her on
phone.
her cell.
Get her-
Yeah, that's fine.
Kalika, if you'll send an email to, do you have my email address?
Is this Mark Sheridan who's talking?
Neese. Steve Neese, do you have my email address?
I probably do. I have to double check.
Or Mike Sheridan's, if you could send your phone number, will you?
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
We're back from executive session. At this time, there's no action required. There is no other items on the agenda. Therefore, I ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.